Good morning. I've spent some time rearranging things and going through. Here's one colander of the lettuce leaves, and I'm going to show you examples of what I'll let go to seed and what I won't. And this was just a medium-sized specimen. Clearly has bolted way beyond edible stage, and I'm not going to let that produce seed. So I'll take that one down like I did all of the others. And these are very, very small varieties starting to bolt, coming from the center, elongating upwards. And I'm going to let these go for a couple more days just because I have so much lettuce to eat, and come take these out as well. But as you can see, I removed a lot of heads, and what I'm going to do is try to move these pots, well, not try, I'm going to move these pots to a shady area and see if it'll allow for second growth to be edible. I have more lemon balm to thin. These are all volunteers, and I'll show you all of the places that I had moved the balm to. And this is an itty bitty one, elongating, so I'll come through and take him. And this is it's a small specimen of this variety. Now, if this was a great specimen for seed collection, I think these measure a 12-inch, 10 or 12-inch pot. It would almost take up that entire pot. It depends on if it's a leafing type lettuce or a head, and the romaine, the red romaine here, is considered a head, and some of these other ones are considered leafing. I have absolutely wonderful growth on, this is the emerald apple, it's the Russian tomato. That's a green specimen, and it'll get golden flecks on it when it's ripe. Really wonderful. And then a batch of the subarctic plenty. So I brought them out and hardened them off, and I do that a little bit faster than what other gardeners do. I try to push the limits on what the plants are able to handle, so I give them more sun and just stronger breezes and cooler temperatures. Now, both of these varieties, because of their breeding and where they come from, can handle cooler temperatures than most tomatoes. And apparently I've missed spring because we are high 70s and 80s. Down here, I have to find a nice shady spot for this, is a flat leaf Italian parsley that's just starting. And in the pots at the bottom of the staircase, this is the same type of lettuce right next to each other. And this is one that a specimen was small and is bolting. And this is a specimen, it's huge, and it hasn't bolted yet. So of course I'm going to let this go to seed and save it, along with this one, good size specimen for seed. And here I have the butterhead, bigger than my hand. Not as big as I've seen butterhead, but it's still a decent specimen for seed collection, especially because some of the other ones are really tiny and they've already bolted. And I left a couple of those in here so you could see. See how tiny that butterhead is next to my hand? And here it is, it's bolted. Had a huge fire ant problem here. So this is the food grade diatomaceous earth, and I'll kick that up again and douse them one more time. I have some of the reds down here, good size, not great, that haven't bolted. And then one or two that did. This one I'm going to take out before it flowers. This was too small of a specimen for seed collection. What a shame, because it's got great color on it. I have ample seed pods on a few of the broccoli rub plants. And look at that gorgeous patch over there, my sweet marjoram. It does really well. A lot of the herbs down here, if I plant them up against the house, do extremely well during the winter months here. And this has just, this is out of control. It's gone wild over here. The flowering dinosaur kale. And I'm really not sure what this is. This might be a turnip. But it's enormous. It easily is hitting 5 feet tall and probably 3.5 in circumference. And down here are lots of varieties of the red leaf lettuce, arrowhead, and Lolo Rosso, Rouge de Havre, I believe it's pronounced. Parsley, starting to bolt. This is the Hamburg rooted. The entire plant's edible, even the root. I'll show you the leaf change on the cilantro as well. And if you're growing cilantro and parsley in the same area, sometimes if you're not experienced, the leaves are pretty similar, but as soon as you crush it, you know what it is. And there's a cilantro. See how very similar? I plugged in some lemon balm volunteers all along here, and also Texas hummingbird sage. I would just love to see this whole entire area just covered with hummingbirds and butterflies and bees. The other strawberry bed was going into the grassy area, so I brought those over here. I have lots of flowering going on. You'll see when I take you out to the shed garden area. And see this malformed strawberry? That's, I was told that that's due to lack of proper pollination, that happens. But I have lots of green berries starting, and flowering is insane at the other garden spot. Endive doing well down here. And while I'm in this area, I'll show you the Russian sage is springing back to life very nicely. I put in lemon balm and Texas hummingbird sage where the wildflowers had been, and I suspect if I keep just adding water, that's going to come back really nicely. Nice big clusters of lemon balm were put into this area, and they were just put in yesterday, and beautiful. They're stiff, no falling over, and I've explained to you that that's how I do it. I have a timing with the water and the cooler temperatures, and then I give them a really good drink, if I could get to it 24 hours before I transplant them. And if I take up enough soil out of the pot when I transplant it, it shows no fatigue whatsoever. The Swiss red rib Swiss chard, gorgeous, just all of them just filling out wonderfully. And the endive, I move the pots over here, try to extend their growing time. A lot of those leafy greens just can't handle the heat, and like I said, we've missed spring. I've had no cool temperatures, so I don't have high expectations for my peas and my spinach, being that it's so intense. But here are the pots of the nice endive specimens, and I'll let some of those go to seed. And if these guys down here in the bed start to bolt and they're too small, then I'll just eat them. More lemon balm, Texas hummingbird sage. This, some of these dino kales. Look at that top. Now I thought these things were totally just goners, and they're sprouting from the bottom. And they can't be, I wouldn't use those for first quality seed stock, but definitely great for a sprouting seed. More lemon balm, makes me happy. And here is this gorgeous, gorgeous strawberry patch. Lots of blooms going on. And I came through and took out just a few of those heads of lettuce that were really small and starting to bolt. I've got to get munching, that's for sure. Large amounts of cilantro volunteers all throughout here. Cilantro is a cool temperature lover, so I'll probably try to move this to a shady area and see if I could extend its life. This is very beautiful, full of gorgeous immature seed pods on this broccoli rob. Happy to see that. And this bed back here around the pine tree, which had been all wildflowers last year, as you can see, I have not even moved the dead stems from the marigold and the other specimens. And I'll come through probably in the next couple days and do that. But I'm not going to clean up the leaf litter. I'm not going to reseed this. This is purely just add water. And boom, they're back. And the patch should be even further spread out and bigger and thicker than it was last year. I got a poppy coming out. It's going to be very pretty. I've been keeping these areas wet to get my basil sprouts and the potato trenches. I'm not seeing anything green popping out except for a couple weeds. The wild blackberries that I put back here last year are doing really well. Boy, I've got some serious cleanup to do. The neighbors, their trash heap blows over here, and then the dogs drag stuff, and then there's my stuff. I need to get one of those little sticks that has the point on the end that people use for trash collection. Oh, that's quite interesting. Little spider web down there. Oh, he darted into the hole. And it looks like I had a great germination rate on the peas. We're seeing some growth in spite of the heat. But the bear dog got back here and dug down into this area. So I don't know how my pea spacing is going to be coming into this area. Look, see, I would have never put it right on top of the fence, close to the fence. But we'll see how that little experiment goes. Springtime is tough here. It's tough to call. I have a great arugula specimen that got mixed in with my pot of asparagus. And this is the second year for this asparagus, so it's way bigger than the ones up front. And as you can see, I've been taking the tops off and nibbling. That's a basil volunteer. Oh, there's another one. Awesome. Fire ants. Could you see them? Man, they're quick. Got nice seed heads bolting action starting there. Cilantro leaf change. Here it is. These really should be bigger before they bolt. You know, it's just the heat. So that's what it looks like. You know, it goes from these big broad leaves to these feathery leaves, and the plant starts to get taller. So this is definitely not first-rate seed stock. I'll keep it on hand just for emergency, or if I want to test it and see if I could get any good specimens out of the next generation. But I know that I've mentioned this before, in a lot of the natural healings, they make the claim that large quantities of raw cilantro in the diet is good for removing heavy metal buildup in your body. I use it, and because I haven't had my hair tested in a while and all of that, I really don't know what it's doing. But I feel good, so baby strawberries. It's looking awesome. I have no idea what this is, but it's pretty. If anybody knows what it is, let me, shoot me a note. Okay. it's gone wild back here. And I really don't know how much effort I'm going to put into clearing and doing a planting. Oh, all right. I'm off and running. That baby's probably going to get up and need to be fed again. So I will talk to you soon. Hope you're off to a good start with your growing season wherever you are. Arrivederci.